Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 29 of Ryan and Anna on MIA. It is post-election. We are still here. Miami's still here. It was going to be fine either way, as we thought the whole time, but...
Yeah, we didn't implode.
No.
Nothing crazy happened. It all just sort of happened the way it was supposed to or did.
Correct. We were saying before, I felt there was something of a subconscious pause on the psyches of the world and the markets. No matter what one thought the outcome would be, or whether they were panicked or not, whatever it was, there was this sort of weight that's been lifted, and I feel like this pause has been over, and now there's very much a feeling of on to the next.
Yeah, I think no matter what it was, whether it was the job market or real estate or just anyone making any decisions was completely paused.
There was an unknown.
Yeah.
However, whichever way you looked at it.
Like you just said, we knew that didn't really affect us that much.
Yep. We were never going to have a very distinct after reality from the before.
Yes.
Because again, the people are trends stay.
Yeah.
And I was on this topic. I was featured in a Daily Mail article about time has flown about 2 weeks ago, and it was on migration patterns. The U.S. Census Bureau releases annual data, and they had just released it a few weeks ago, and it was on 2023 migration. And they have this. It's public access. Everyone. It's like a whole thing. You can download this data. So I of course downloaded it. I parsed it. I made a whole little chart about it, and I made a table showing net migration, inflow, outflow for all the states, plus the District of Columbia, so 51 entries in the table. And then you can rank them by which states received the most and lost the most. So the patterns continued. Florida and Texas were the big winners.
Obviously.
Texas edged us out a little bit. We're neck and neck, but they are 4 times bigger than we are. And then the biggest losers were California and New York once again. Shocking. So when I look at this data, part of what I've been saying in this thesis of the country reshaping is that people are leaving high tax, what were high lockdown states, which were blue states. That's just the pattern that I perceived. So I added a column to the table which showed the top marginal income tax rate for each state. And then, wow, is that a pattern? So 1 and 2 have no tax, 0, Florida and Texas. The last 2 were Florida, the worst ones, the worst losers. Each New York and California have over 10% top tax rate. And then I averaged it, 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 down the list. And the pattern holds very, very clear. This is clearly a migration of citizens out of high tax states to lower tax states. And then I did another thing. I added a column showing the party affiliation of the in-place governor. And 8 of the top 10 winning states in terms of net population had Republican governors. 9 of the 10 losing states had Democratic governors. So it was an extremely strong pattern. And basically, for the year, blue states, where the governor was a Democrat, had an outflow of over 500,000 people, and red states had an inflow of over 500,000 people. It was a shocking correlation.
That is quite a correlation.
Yep.
And it is interesting. I think, from what I've seen after the election and even before. Okay, I'm going to rewind a little bit. San Francisco. Mm-hmm. San Francisco replaced their mayor.
Right.
And I have said since we started this podcast like almost 2 years ago now, that San Francisco, as an example, was going to have to burn figuratively to the ground.
Yep.
And they finally did.
Yep. Correct.
They still have some people in there, whatever. But getting rid of that mayor, and they replaced a ton of the board of supervisors too, is a huge step. And something that never would have happened in like 2020.
Correct. And then similarly, on the same ballot as the presidential ballot, California overwhelmingly voted for a proposition. Oh, I forgot the number.
The rent control?
No. The one recriminalizing crime.
Okay.
And their governor campaigned against it. And the state was like, no, we want people to be criminals again for the crimes they commit.
Is it like the $900 thing?
Yeah, I think it was related to that. I forgot. Proposition number, whatever. Correct. So it was to roll back decriminalization.
Okay.
And the state of California overwhelmingly went that way. So perhaps things have swung too far, even there.
Speaking of swinging too far, California also voted against rent control, like statewide rent control.
Same
or
pattern.
something.
All part of the same thing.
Yeah, and there's like one guy who's been trying to push rent control through in California for 20 years, and they actually had a separate ballot just for this guy, that he could no longer use this money, whatever money he makes, to do rent control ballots. Because he's done it like 4 times.
Wow, he keeps spamming them.
Yeah, he keeps spamming them. And they literally did cut off. They blocked him.
Wow.
So I think it's very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. And on the Florida front, we have how many cabinet members from the state of Florida and appointees?
Yeah,
it's like the whole administration is Florida.
Yeah. Also, I am. We have a little bit of a revolving door there too.
Oh, we do.
They just
more Florida people.
Yeah, they got rid of one and picked the other one.
Yes.
The girl's hotter though.
She is hotter. Better optics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She looks sort of like that Fox News sort of anchor.
The trim kind of blonde. Yeah.
Yes. So I think it's funny. It's the mayor
of Miami's in shape.
Yes. Yeah.
Shout out to Mayor Suarez. He's a good spokesperson for our city.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be a mayor in Miami, you've got to be hot.
You got to work out.
Yeah. So, but I think it's interesting. I think I said this in the last podcast, is that, or maybe one before it. Billy Corbin always says, he says that the Miami of today is the America of tomorrow.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know if he said it, but he says it all the time. And it is true. It's funny because he says it in like a negative sort of way. I say it
I took it as a positive.
Yeah, in a positive way, because there are a lot of positives about the city that should be exported to other cities in this country.
Yep. Agree.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, like, listen, things are continuing to boom here.
Yes, they are.
I mean,
you can't keep track.
Yeah. I didn't bring with me today, but this is some of my notes for the thing.
Some of them.
Some of them. We print out like a lot of pages. Sorry, trees. But there was like a stack that was bigger than this of residential condo projects that are either in construction, very closest to breaking ground, or completing soon, and it was like twice.
It was tri-county.
It was
so
it was twice the stack of this, and that's just condos.
Not multifamily. We have 80 projects under construction in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
in Miami-Dade alone. Correct.
Yeah. And what are some of the projects that we're excited about?
Oh my God, there's so many. My brain feels inundated.
I know.
But we had a groundbreaking recently. The St. Regis broke ground.
Yes,
that's an exciting story.
One of our favorite projects.
Correct. This is tying into our single-family home replacement thesis. So the single-family home market is very, very tight. It will remain very tight because we can't add more inventory vertically. And in fact, I made a post on this recently. October numbers for single-family. Our median pricing Miami-Dade is up 9% year over year. And inventory remains 29% below where it was pre-COVID.
Wow.
Yep. And in the tightest areas, for example, talking about relevant to that project, the urban core, is Coconut Grove, for example, which is the closest low density neighborhood to the urban core.
Yeah.
And that market is on steroids. There's nothing.
Speaking of single family home replacement, we visited a sales center last week.
We did, of Aria Reserve.
Yes.
That was a great project.
Highly impressed.
2 towers, yep.
Yeah.
They were the tallest waterfront twin
the tallest twin waterfront towers in the United States.
They're over 50 floors each, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's taller ones that are on the ocean. I don't know. I think they're banking on the fact that it's like on a bay.
And twin towers.
But
they're tall.
But
that's not why we like it anyway.
It's gonna be. Anyways, I was just really impressed with that project. Like the amenities, and they've done some really thoughtful things too. Like one of the things is they built the first South Tower, and now they built the North Tower, and they learned some things.
They did. They learned to expand one of the units and decrease the floor plate to allow for a larger unit. I believe the first tower had 7, on a typical floor plate, had 7 units.
Yeah.
And then past, I think, the 27th or 28th floor, past a mid-level floor in the second tower, they expanded one of the corner units to give it more frontage, more water frontage, and more square footage to accommodate larger. And this is going back to our single-family home replacement theory.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is interesting because we're basically kind of building 3 products as far as condo goes right now. We're building the ultra luxury single family home replacement, St. Regis, Una, Villa, those places. We are building condos that are short term rental friendly, and then we're building like micro units. And sometimes
those are the condo hotels. Usually, they're all micro.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, all the micro units are condo hotel units, pretty much.
Yes.
In the condo space, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're building some slightly larger ones that are also short-term rentals.
Right.
That's basically what we're building.
Right. That middle ground, there's a paucity of the middle ground.
There's none.
Almost none. I would say Aria is.
Yeah, Aria is interesting.
Is not as expensive as the St. Regis or the Mandarin.
Yeah, and we were shocked by the HOA.
75 cents a foot. That's right.
That's crazy.
That's exceptionally low for our market, for those that don't know.
And I think
we asked them how they achieved that.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you recall what they said? It was a good answer.
Yeah, he said because Mellow is, 1, vertically integrated. 2, it's because they didn't do a brand.
And by vertically integrated, you mean they do their own construction,
architecture,
and their own financing, I believe, right? They didn't have so they've kept those costs down, and then economics of scale for amenities and so forth, because they have the 2 towers sharing the lot.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they built
no branding, as you were saying.
Yeah, and they built the 2 towers right on the bay, and then the parking and amenities is like a block west of it.
Right.
So they put it all together, so they didn't have to build 2 different amenities for both towers.
But 75 cents a foot is...
It's crazy.
You can't find that anymore in existing product.
Like most of the ones with brands, like $2, right?
Yeah, it's not unusual at all.
Wow.
Over $1.50 is quite Typical.
Yeah.
Over $1. I mean, what's below $1 now? I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, and anyways, it's just a really good project overall.
And the price points are not cheap, but again,
Yeah.
it's below the uber high end.
Correct.
And they're around 12 to 1,400 a square foot, if I recall. So they're not past 2,000 a square foot or 4,000 a square foot like we're seeing some of the uber luxury. So it's the best attempt, I think, at that middle ground. It's not. No one's saying it's cheap, but
Yeah.
but you have units there at 1 to 3, 1 to 4 that are larger floor plan, which
Yeah.
is not cheap, but it's less than 5 to 10.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because you're going to get an interesting mix of people because the penthouses and whatever the sky villas, whatever they're calling them, are going to be very expensive,
Right.
and those have even have staff quarters,
Correct. That's right.
so you could bring your
And their top ones are bi-level. They have all those things.
yeah,
Correct.
so you can bring your nannies and cooks and whatever, but then they're also going to have sort of standard one bedrooms. They're just basically anyone with a semi-high income can have.
Correct. Correct.
So it's gonna be an interesting mix of people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the interesting, I don't know if it's tea or not, but so if you know this, it's on 24th, and you have the two towers in the bay, and then you sort of goes all the way back to the amenity deck. There's a blank space directly west.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye on that space.
That's also owned by Mellow because you asked them. That's right.
Yeah, I was joking that they made a better Parisio district. and it is because I think, and also the Aria Reserve has 4 or 5 retail spaces in the
Right,
amenity,
right.
amenity deck.
Right.
Everything that I saw about
There's a
it,
padel court.
yeah, padel and tennis, I believe.
All the units are passed through.
Yes. they're all flow
And they
through.
have pools on both sides, so you can choose your light exposure.
Yep, and the baywalk there is really thoughtful. It has a really wide baywalk. They're doing a restaurant that's open to the public.
That's right.
Which
Because
is
the
nice.
entrance is separate. That was the point.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I think he said the minimum rental there is 1
30
month.
days. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
1 month. Yep.
So I think, anyways, I just think it's a good
It was
project.
a very well thought out project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the cool things about Mellow is they really learn fast.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Very responsive.
Yeah.
It was on the money. It's on the market. It's a great product.
Yeah, because I think they learned a lot from the Aria over here, and
That
they
makes sense.
then they applied it to that. You should like this. This is my little drawing I made of your.
Ah, yes. Ryan drew. We have the Bermuda Triangle, which is rather ominous. This is the Brickell Golden Triangle.
Yeah. So,
So here we have the Mandarin. This is where Citadel is coming.
Yep.
And then we have the St. Regis.
Yep.
And Santander Bank will be in there too somewhere.
An 830 Brickell.
And 830 Brickell.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot coming in this golden triangle here.
Yeah.
This is Ryan trademarked this. The Brickell Golden Triangle. Over $2 million of Class A office coming.
Yep.
2 amazing projects coming.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then also 1428 Brickell's in there.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
That's correct. That's inland right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's
So,
pretty amazing.
Yeah. So
The Brickell
you.
Golden Triangle.
So
You saw it here first, everyone. Trademark Ryan.
So I think the interesting thing about this is that this is sort of being. You did the whole analysis of the Citadel, St. Regis. I think this really plays into that
1,000%.
because you have the people executives at Santander, at Citadel, at 830 Brickell, whoever's there. They're going to want properties that are basically walkable or extremely quick
Some of them will.
to get to the office.
Yep. Yep. And there's really not much product. That was one of the points we're discussing that will shock most people. The only project really delivered in the last 5 years in Brickell is Flatiron. And Brickell Flatiron is not a family building per se.
Yeah.
It's a lot of units. It's almost 600 units, I think. It's not a short-term building, but it's a lot of smaller units.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really have an expanse of larger floor plans. It has some, but that's not the majority of the building. And
Yeah.
it was never meant to be like a family. It's like a young professionals building. But that's the only one that's new in the last 5 years.
I was shook by that.
Yeah, I know. It's a shocking stat. This is why, as I keep saying, older buildings like the Santa Maria or even Echo, which was built in 2018, right below my threshold there.
It's that one.
Yeah, Echo. Are getting very high prices per square foot because they are the single-family replacement, and there's nothing else if you want to be in the urban core. Or they go to Coconut Grove, where you can't get much for $5 million anymore.
Yeah.
Truly,
Yeah.
it is what it is. You're going to get like an older house that needs work. You're not going to love it at $5 million.
Yeah.
And again, and also not even that alone. I grew up in New York City, and I've never lived in a house. And so for me, it's actually very normal to live in an apartment or a condo.
Yeah.
And for many people who grew up in New York City, that's the case. I actually get creeped out when I'm in a house at night because I feel like somebody could come knock on the window because I've never lived in a house.
Yeah.
So there are people like that too. People who are used to living in dense urban environments.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for example, Echo Brickell is reselling. They had a resale at $1,800 a square foot, which I find, not to offend Echo Brickell, but I find it a little bit surprising. Similarly, also, which one was it there on the water at Santa Maria? No, which one was it? The old building from the 90s resold at like $900 a foot.
Wow.
Because it has larger floor plans and it's within the urban core. And then we have the Apogee in South Beach, built 2008, which is reselling at $3,500 a square foot. And that building, when it was built, was considered like too fancy for its area. The area grew up around it, and it's 4 units per floor plate. The corner ones are over 4,500, middle ones like 3,600 square feet. So it's a real single family replacement. That's what it's tapping into. And these new ones, not to insult the Apogee, it's a nice building, but the new ones, the Mandarin or the St. Regis, they'll make the Apogee look, not to sound rude, but middle class in comparison.
Yes.
It's just a different generation of building.
Yeah.
And it's getting $3,500 now in resale.
Yeah, and to go back to St. Regis, you were going into about how it sort of stands alone, because it's really like let's say Una has been under construction for 1 million years, and it really hasn't been optimized.
It still hasn't delivered, actually.
It hasn't delivered, yeah. It hasn't been optimized for the current cycle.
Right.
It was designed at the...
Right. And that's why it was delayed and so forth. Correct.
Yeah.
It's still a nice project, but yes.
And,
correct.
we've said it before, but the St. Regis was originally designed to be 2 towers. Mm-hmm. And they shrunk it and then made the tower larger and increased the floor plates and
then people
et cetera.
modified there. I think it's down from like 160 to like 120. Like a bunch of units were removed from the list because people combined to make them even larger.
Nice.
It's just straight up single family replacement.
Yeah, and they also they broke ground yesterday.
It's pretty exciting.
They demolished and broke ground on that very rapidly.
Yep. And then the Mandarin will break ground next year.
It's crazy. I was somewhere in this list of papers I'll find eventually. Is the delivery schedule for Brickell?
Yes.
And there's almost nothing for 2 years.
It's really not that much, guys. That's the thing that people don't realize. It's because it's like construction news is exciting, and it gets announced. You see all these unit counts, all those things, but really it isn't that much when you look at how it's spaced out and the distinctions in unit type.
Yeah.
Because they don't overlap. The market for a larger, expensive unit does not overlap with a condo hotel product.
Yeah.
You have to look at them as separate things.
Yeah.
And it's not that much given what's happening in the area.
Yeah, and here it is. So there are 5,254 units coming to market by 2009 in Brickell.
By when?
2029.
Right.
And there's almost nothing in 2025.
Right.
It's Una and Smart Brickell 3.
Right.
You get more in 2026 and going forward, but yeah, I mean, you're not going to get anything for a year and a half, at least.
And then a few years, a lot of deliveries, and then it's chill. Yeah.
So as I've been saying for a lot of these podcasts is Miami really had a sort of never-ending super cycle. Because normally you would have this sort of look, and then there'd be no projects at all because we'd be in a crash. But there was no crash. No matter what the press wants to say.
No, there has not been.
Anna loves making those videos.
Give me another truth video.
Yeah.
I still have to make one about UBS's bubble index, which deeply offended me. But I digress.
It's just very. Oh, and here is the price per square foot on the new ones.
Right. Yep. It's ranging $1,000. Smart Brickell 2, it says, up to 2,500 Mandarin. Yeah, correct. You can't really deliver below 1,000 a foot. We know this.
Yeah.
Those are going to be small units, condo hotel units.
Yep. So I just find that interesting. And it's sort of the same look for downtown Miami as well.
Correct.
There's like 3 or 4 products delivering in the next year, and then 2026, 2027, there's a lot.
And honestly, guys, these 1428 Brickell, St. Regis Mandarin at 2,000 a foot, I think that's a deal when the Apogee is reselling at 3,500. I think the Apogee reselling at 3,500 shows what people are willing to pay for larger floor plans.
Yeah.
The Apogee doesn't have a marina, it doesn't have a Michelin restaurant, it doesn't have any. It was built in 2008. It was fancy for its time, but these are very, very different realities right now.
Yeah.
So I think all these buildings have that upside because we know people are willing to pay it, and Brickell will continue developing around them.
And Apogee is technically a dry lot.
How so?
Well, it's not on the water directly.
It's on the water.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a government cut, but no
No
That's right.
marina.
Well, not its own. It has the Miami Beach Marina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is an interesting map. This is a development map of everything happening in downtown in Brickell. Just look at the map. Look at that. It's wild. Like, there's how many are on here? there's 36 on here, and that's not even really all of them because this is a little out of date.
Yep.
There's been announcements since
Yep.
then. 36 projects by 2028. It's crazy. So I'm oh, and then on that same note, this is from the Brickle Mag, Brickle Rising.
I love that picture.
Yeah, this is Miami and downtown Brickle by 2030, I believe. They did a really cool job with the rendering on it. Like
They did.
it's just it bugs me. And there's new things getting announced all the time. Who is buying the Amco assemblage right here?
I don't know.
But it's in negotiations for $500 million.
Yeah, that's right. Correct. I just blanked on it. Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's I don't know. I'll have to research that. But I mean, that's a huge lot, and they could develop 3-4 towers there, and those are wet lots.
Yep.
Water lots.
Yep. It's exciting.
It is
And
exciting.
our airport is at all-time traffic highs. Keeps breaking records.
Oh,
There's
and they want to
talks of
build a new
building
one.
Exactly.
I sent that to my friend Max because he thinks we should do an actual high-speed rail with Brightline, like an actual one, and have like the terminus be like the South Dade Airport. I don't know, and then have like a high-speed rail to Naples or something. I don't know, but interesting things. Oh, look at this. This is the pre-construction condo by units for the whole thing. 18,000.
Yep.
18,000 under construction,
Yep.
and that's just condo,
Yep.
not multifamily.
Yep.
So
Spread out though. Yeah.
yeah, it's all over the place. I'm just going through these because there's some really interesting data in here. I like this one. This is the condo market cycles.
That's
like,
right.
Like I was just saying about super cycles.
Right.
And they said, by the end of it, we will have, by the end of cycle 3, we'll have 55,000 units delivered. It's wild. So, you did an interesting article or video last week about bubbles because you always love talking about them.
Yes. It's because people keep making things up about how to define a bubble, like UBS. So everyone, I think it's broken telephone off of UBS because they had that global bubble index, and they used Miami as their headline, probably to get views.
Okay.
And they defined our placement on the list solely upon speed of price appreciation. They said the price has risen so much, what can really support it? It must be a bubble.
Okay.
So that's not the only factor to look at when you look at a bubble. So when especially real estate. So in the last market, when things crashed, in the last real estate crash, it's because there's a whole lot of over leveraging in the market. And when the underlying assets could no longer support the debt, it all, as I was saying, crashed like a flammable house of cards. Ba-ding,
Yes.
it went down. Okay. That's not the setup that we have now at all. We have a very, very heavy all cash market. Now we're
Yes.
talking about all this condo development. Even at $1 million in the resale market, condos were 72% cash in Q3 of this year. And the higher up we go on per square foot, very high in resale past 2,000 a square foot, we're 82% all cash. So this market has been buoyed up by cash. The higher up we go, the more it is cash, and it's strongly cash all the way down. So this is not a what's it called, an over levered setup that's been fueled by irresponsible usage of debt. And also our inventory levels have not spiked. Overall inventory, as with single family, remains about 30% below pre-COVID. We do have at higher price points, we have more inventory than pre-COVID, but we're selling many multiple times more. So actually, supply relative to demand hasn't kept up. So I don't see the spike in supply. I don't see the usage of debt. Where is the bubble? I don't understand. It's not. You can't justify a bubble based on price. But I think people are just not willing to see what's really happening. Maybe it's contrary to their identity politics, their perceptions of how things should be, or they just want a headline. I don't really know. But UBS should know better.
Shame. I love Anna's setting the record straight videos. They're my favorite.
I can't help myself.
You can see the intensity when she's talking to these people in the press that are just like in some sort of.
Oh, I was in a South Florida Business Journal article about bubbles also. And actually, Eric Boynansky wrote it, and he did a good job in quoting different perspectives. He gave me a few paragraphs on this topic where we quoted these cash percentages and so forth. The headline I hurt me. The headline was Miami tops list of global bubbles, but the article itself was very well balanced. So maybe that's just the title they had to use. I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Well, moving on from bubbles, there have been some more official announcements. Faina is officially launched and
That's right.
pre-selling.
That's right.
You heard it here first.
That's true.
Sorry.
That's partnered with Fortune, right?
Yes. Yeah. They're hopefully they can get One River Point off the ground this time.
Right, but now it's called Faina.
It's called Faina. But the whole thing is they want to do a whole district around it.
Yep.
So there's a couple more lots they can fill in. So we'll see what they can do with some Faina money or name. And then across the way, they started selling the standard Brickell residences, which is another part of Lofty, second tower in Lofty. I find that interesting because they are very clear that even though it's a standard branded, it's a regular condo and no short-term rentals.
30-day minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harvey told me that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Lofty is short-term,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with a third tower, what the makeup of that will be. If it'll be multifamily or a regular condo or it's interesting.
Evolving.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, that's, I think...
And they got to finish Lofty first.
Yes. I think that's the story sort of with all these things is that Miami has learned a lot from its past in real estate and they evolve quickly now. Developers do.
That's a good point.
Like,
Adapt and evolve.
Yeah, if they see the market heading one way or a trend heading one way, they adapt their market and they're not afraid to. Like they couldn't sell River Point for whatever reason, it didn't work. They realize that there is a crazy boom in branded properties. People love it. Boom, branded property. And now it has positive forward motion.
Good point.
Yeah. And Lofty was not having the best of luck with sales. Boom, branded property.
This is true.
And there's still a third tower to come. Also, they're really moving fast on two projects that I sort of keep an eye on. Casa Bella across the street here, and Viceroy in Brickell, and Baccarat too. But Viceroy is there. They're flying on it. It should be a fairly quick completion. So I am excited about that. And you know, there's so much like things that we hadn't even covered before. There's Season 1, Millock's Place. Yeah, just so many things happening. That's the one across the street from Mercedes-Benz Places.
Short-term rentals.
Yeah, short-term rentals. And that's West Brickell. West Brickell is popping
It's
off.
now a place.
Yeah. There's so much happening there. And because there's so many older buildings and empty lots, they're really sort of getting to... They have more flexibility than they did in like actual Brickell, so they can make projects that are a little more intentional.
Actual Brickell had a lot built in the previous cycle.
Yeah. Speaking of previous cycles, some of the hot tea, not really hot tea, but it's causing some consternation. So Ken Griffin has the waterfront lot there on Brickell Bay Drive.
This is in the Wall Street Journal, the Ken Griffin scoop.
And he also bought the office building on Brickell Ave. And in between those is Solaris.
Right.
Solaris was built by Harvey Hernandez.
I don't know.
What's his last name?
Hernandez.
Hernandez, yes.
Harvey.
It was built by him in like
Okay.
2006. And apparently there has been anonymous Delaware LLCs buying up half the building, and they've gotten to like 60 or 70%, and the Wall Street Journal was like, And so they
blew his cover.
Yeah, they blew the cover, and they did a whole story. And now owners are freaking out because, you know, it's interesting. I mean, if he buys that, he will be able to make one hell of a combined project.
This is true.
That is a lot of space in Brickell.
I think they didn't comment or deny it or whatever. Odds are it's them.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. And I think.
Or somebody being even sneakier, doing that and then trying to extort him for even more.
that would be. That would be very Miami.
That would.
Yeah. There's been like a lot of very Miami things that have been happening recently.
This is true.
It's. Yeah, a lot of legal things. A lot of things are sort of shaking out. Speaking of legal things, Biscayne 21 / The Addition is sort of jogging along. They finished the seawall on it, so it has a complete seawall. They had to raise a seawall, and the rumors I hear are they are telling me that to expect demolition of Biscayne 21 in January.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which means that they think that their court case is about to
Be
come
resolved.
in. Yes.
That's good news.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the people at Biscayne 21...
That 100% was nonsense. That'll never happen.
They just need to take their check and move on.
And they can't come back.
The building is
Dead.
doomed.
Yeah.
It's doomed and dead. So, anything else you'd like to talk about?
I had something that just slipped my mind.
You've made so many videos recently.
Oh, I spoke at stuff. I spoke at
Yes.
the real estate congress. I did something for the Real Deal, which we're waiting a video from them. I spoke with the head of analytics of CoStar.
Okay, how'd that go?
Very great. He's a great guy, Juan. I'm going to be actually. I spoke to him yesterday, and I contributed some stuff for a CoStar article coming out soon.
Okay. And you were in the South Florida Business Journal, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, on the bubble article that I mentioned where I didn't like their title, but
And-
Eric
and-
did a great job. He wrote a very well balanced article, but the headline was like hurt me.
What was the headline?
Miami heads global list of bubbles or something.
Oh no, risk of bubbles.
Yes, but like his article was good. He actually gave well balanced things. He gave me like 4 or 5 paragraphs. Like it was not just me, other people too. It was like actually like a comprehensive, well rounded article. But the headline.
Yeah, like I think I told you that most times journalists don't control the headlines.
Yeah, that might be.
It's editorialized.
The headline I felt did the article a disservice. It was a very well balanced article. But.
Yeah. Oh, here's something interesting. This is there in Brickell alone, there are 5,254 units coming to market by 2029.
Mm-hmm.
5,000 units. Mm-hmm. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple here that I'm very interested in. I'm very interested in the in the Mercedes-Benz places, the Ora by Casa Tua, and the 120 residences.
Mm-hmm.
120 residences by PMG.
Right, with the offices.
Yeah, you're going to get deeded offices with each condo purchase.
That's pretty cool.
Which I think is a really cool
Yeah.
idea. And 120 Brickell is actually only one side of that. There's actually going to be 2 towers there.
What's the other one?
Unnamed.
Okay.
But it was called Central before, and then they rebranded it.
When what did we see in the press today that Terra Group might be is trying to get something else passed?
Oh my God.
So they came in at 12% ownership or something like that with the Morellos at some point. They bought in, and now they're trying to. This was initially. So Stephen Ross of Related Co. was initially under contract contingent upon
Like for
this is for the
$500 million.
Deauville in North Beach and Miami Beach, contingent upon the passage of a referendum that would allow them to build something there that was
Yeah,
in
the FAR
excess
ratio.
of in-place FAR. So that was voted out. Voters did not vote. Miami Beach voters did not approve it
By like a large amount.
by a large amount.
Yeah.
And then Stephen Ross pulled out, and it's been like 2 years or so. And now David Martin and Terra have stepped in, and now they're asking for more.
Way more.
God bless them.
But they're
But in exchange,
they're putting a carrot in front of the people.
Yes.
They're saying they will reconstruct the historical parts of the Deauville that are historically important in exchange for adding 3 towers.
they want to build like 40 floors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the way that they're trying to do it this time is they're trying to make it not go through a referendum. Because if they can get it through the design and board.
So my friend Michael Larkin is an attorney. He trains jiu-jitsu where I train. Hello, Michael Larkin says. He's actually quoted the article, and apparently he's the person counseling them on this.
Okay.
So he's very smart. So if anyone can do it, I'm sure he's figured it out.
That's gonna be a very interesting thing to get it through, because they didn't improve it last time. So I think with the reconstruction, them trying to get it through with that, it was going to be a fascinating process to watch, because the Deauville didn't really have a ton of historical stuff.
But the preservation board is quite strange. They'll pretend something does.
Okay.
And I have no problem saying that. I think they're zealots.
Yeah. I mean, it had like an interesting like entryway,
Right.
and that was
Right.
it. The rest of it was a box.
They're like, oh, the Beatles performed there. Listen, in 20 years, is anyone really going to care?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
It's like, I guess my topic of glorification of the past, putting it on an undue pedestal. Because remember, back then, black performers also couldn't sleep on the beach and had to go off the beach. So when Sammy
Yes.
Davis Jr. was performing there, technically speaking, he couldn't sleep there.
Yeah.
Or go through the main entrance, I believe.
Yeah.
So listen, you can't cherry pick the past, is all I'm going to say.
You really can't. And I mean, look at they're also redoing the standard on the Venetian.
That's right.
And it's kind of a big deal because the daughter of the original architect is on the board.
That's like a carrot that makes
Yes.
people feel better.
But there's drama there because they tried to pay the Belle Isle Resident Association. They gave them like some money. It wasn't a bribe per se, but it wasn't not a bribe. And so like, here's a couple $1 million to fix some things if you guys don't go against this project.
Ah.
And so now it's like a big drama because apparently that's not legal. You just
Oh.
you can't bribe neighborhood associations.
Why not? I'm kidding.
It's Miami. But anyways, I think a lot has happened. A lot will continue to happen.
Agree.
And there's a lot of good projects happening. We have a couple projects we're working on as well, which should be happening next couple weeks. So I think it's good. I think there's going to be a lot happening in Miami. Keep your eyes and ears open for it.
I think in fact stuff is going to speed up now post-election. The pause has been lifted, whatever there was in terms of a subconscious pause in the world, and I feel like we're going to just continue along on our path now.
Yeah, and people keep saying that Trump winning is quite good for Florida.
I think it is. Oh, I was quoted on that. Ah, yes. I was in the South Florida Business Journal a few times. Okay, that was 2 articles ago, and I actually am quite proud of my quote on this. I'm going to read it so I don't misquote myself. And what I told the South Florida Business Journal was that, given the team that he has assembled, most notably, this was on like the day after the election they called me. I was like, okay, I got it. Given the team that he has assembled, most notably Elon Musk, I believe that a Trump presidency will be aligned with entrepreneurs and creators. Since South Florida is attracting taxpayers and creators, our housing market will be further supercharged by an administration that fosters entrepreneurship.
Wow.
That was my quote.
Yeah. And also rates will probably come down and
All of that.
all of those fun things. So excellent. We made it through the election, and now we're almost the new year.
That's right.
And
Our
onwards.
birthdays.
Oh my God! Yes, our birthdays are a couple weeks.
December 4th,
If you guys want to
December
guess
5th.
anything, feel free.
December 4th, December 5th.
Yeah.
But I'm much older than him.
Not by that much. You look great, but
Thank you.
today we had a marathon content. This is our
Yes.
third hour of
That's right.
of content. But some exciting things. Thank you guys for
Thank you,
watching,
guys.
and we shall see you very soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye, guys.